Hey guys, Doug Schmazel here. Not in the hangar, not working on the Zenith 750. I'm actually traveling with work right now and just got done with my FaceTime date with my beautiful bride, Sandra. And in the background during our date was my computer running, and there was a screensaver with all my flying adventures going. So I saw airplanes and formation flying and where we were landing and flying with geese and all kinds of cool stuff. And I thought, I've never told my story about aviation and how I got into it. So I thought I'd share that with you because I get kind of pretty nostalgic there. Anyhow, we started flying when I was a kid. My adventure started when I was that tall. My dad was a hang glider pilot, so he was one of those crazy buggers who would climb a mountain and jump off with a kite on his back. From there, he bought an ultralight, and that's when we found Oshkosh, and we made that pilgrimage to Oshkosh every year forever. Matter of fact, I think my dad's missed one time in 35 years. So anyhow, we had a great time doing that. He bought a Cessna 150, and that's when I started taking lessons. I was 14 years old. And then he did a motor glider, and so we've always been around the flying thing. And my problem is I found girls. Girls are the root to all evil. Not you, Sandra. No, not you, Sandra. Anyways, so I couldn't afford any airplane because I was married and had children, but I got that pull. I wanted to fly. So I started flying RC planes. And that's a good time. But problem is my RC planes got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And one day we were out at the hangar where I used to keep my airplane. It was or my airplanes. It was a private airstrip. And one of the old guys there had a Phantom ultralight, and he had it in storage for 10 years or something like that. He pulled it out, and we set it up and cleaned the carburetor and put fresh gas in it. Don was a cool old guy. Don says, well, pull it through and see if it starts. So he starts it up, and like any normal person would, you would pre-flight it, go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Now, Don taxis to the end of the runway. That's my airplane. I know what I'm doing. He gets to the end of the runway. He goes, I'm going to crow hop it. So he pours the coals to it. He crow hops it. And sure enough, it hops off the ground. And he's got a big grin on his face. Well, anyhow, he comes back. And as he's taxiing back, we figure he's going to pull in pre-flight. Not Don. No. Don goes to the end of the runway, pours the coals to it, and takes off. That night was beautiful. And the sun was setting, and I listened to that engine just hum, and he's just floating around, and I was hooked. I said, I got to get back into flying. Funny part of that story with Don is as he's coming in for a landing, he realized his mistake. He didn't even clean the windscreen. So as he's landing, the sun's hitting him. He can't see anything. So he lands, he gets it down, and now he's got a pilot story. You know those types. But anyhow, Don was a great old guy. But so from that point, I decided I needed an airplane. So I actually bought a Phantom. We bought two wrecked Phantoms. And my buddy Mark and I actually reassembled, put everything together, rebuilt everything. And I flew that airplane for a long time. And that airplane was cool. It was kind of like a hot rod. So that was one of those planes that you could pour the coals to it, count to 3, pull back, and then you're doing a Mike Patey takeoff where your feet are up over your head, It was great. But there's that misconception about it being a ultralight. This thing was fully aerobatic, stressed at 10 G's positive, 9 G's negative. My dad, as a matter of fact, was even one of those guys that gave me a hard time. He's like, you have an ultralight. You don't have an airplane. I said, I don't have an airplane. Really? I said, here's what we're going to do, Dad. I said, we're going to have a contest. I said, you and me, we're going to go to the end of the runway. We're going to go full power. We're going to take off. We're going to climb up. When we get to 1,000 feet, we're going to do a hammerhead stall. We're going to turn it into a spin. We're going to come down and land. And I said, and while I'm drinking the Coke sitting on the ground, you should be climbing through what, maybe 300-400 feet by then? I love to give my dad a hard time. Anyways, Phantom was an awesome airplane. I flew that for a real long time. There was a plethora of projects that I bought. A Moni motor glider, Rotec Rally, the Flight Star. I did a lot of stuff. And I sold my Phantom about 15 years ago, maybe maybe 12 or 15 years ago. Anyhow, I sold my last airplane 2 years ago to buy the engine for my Zenith 750. I've been out of the air for 2 years. It's killing me. I gotta get this thing done. It's killing me. So anyhow, I've got a video of me flying my Phantom, and I thought I'd share it with you. You know, that Phantom was like an extension of you. I could take that thing and I could shoot an approach in that Phantom by using nothing but throttle and rudder pedals, and I'd even touch down that way. And you know, you could do anything with that thing, and that's where I really learned the feel of flying versus looking at instruments. But anyhow, so let me show you this video, and then what we'll do is have a little talk afterwards.
Not something they teach you at flight school, but it's one of those things that you just have to do every once in a while, you know. We sometimes refer to this as an unusual attitude. Here he goes. You know, it's funny, I watch it and I can see the rudder crank all the way around and just watch it just kind of lazily go over there. Well, I think he's going to a fairly big one. So we got one more aircraft due in here imminently, and then we're going to.
You know, that was pretty fun. It was interesting because my buddy came out and videotaped that, and that's the first time I ever seen myself upside down, and that was the last time I was ever upside down in my airplane. Anyhow, so I'm going to close with a joke. So this old couple, for their anniversary, they go back to that first place that they met at a bar, and they're sitting there, and he says, "You remember what we did way back then?" She goes, "We went out in the field and we made love, didn't we?" And he says, "Yep." And he says, "Well, what do you think? Old time's sake?" She says, "Sure." This cop sitting next to me going, "Oh, Jesus, we can't let that happen." So he follows them out, and he's going to stop them. So next thing you know, they go out and they strip down and they lean up against the fence and they just start making love like animals, and they're shaking and howling and screaming and yelling, and the cop's like, "Holy crap, I can't stop this." So anyhow, when they get done, they both fall back away from the fence on the ground, and the cop goes up and he goes, "I was going to break you up," he says, "but that was the most impressive thing I ever seen. How the hell did you keep it alive like that? Where'd that energy come from?" He says, the old guy looks at me and says, "Son, let me tell you what." He said, 60 years ago, that fence wasn't electrified. All right, guys, it's that time. Like and subscribe to this channel. I don't know why. I'm not trying to get rich, but I need subscribers. Thanks, man.